Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Bears Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So, spoiler, see, I don't know if it's even spoiler season technically. I mean, they've put out like, I think nearly all the set at this point. I think like 49 cards. There was a giant leak that happened that Wizards never confirmed if it was actually the real cards or not, but they basically did. And then they just said, you know what? Here's a bunch of cards. And yeah, it's crazy times at this point. But yeah, we've got a lot of exciting cards to talk about, including some that I did not cover from the leak because, wow, there were so many of them. And yeah, brand new card right here, right now. That goes a bit too infinite, a bit too easily. The card that goes a bit too infinite, a bit too easily that we've been talking about lately. So yeah, let's jump into it. Without further ado, we've got a brand new Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin. Yeah, Ob's back, and spoiler alert for those of you that don't know and hear, like, spoiler, from the story, essentially, it appears that some planeswalkers apparently have lost their sparks, including Ob, who is on New Capenna, and stuck on New Capenna, and apparently upset many people on New Capenna, so we'll see how that goes. Regardless, Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin is a 4/3 demon with flying and trample. That's flample for you all out there. That costs 2 black and a red. It says whenever one or more of your opponents each lose exactly 1 life when a +1 counter on Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin, exile the top card of your library until your next end step. You may play that card. So, well, this card has a lot of potential. If you are able to, say, have your opponents lose a life or maybe take 1 damage, because yeah, that does cause loss of life, then there you go. You get, counters on Ob. Ob gets bigger. Flampling is a great way to get a lot of damage through. It starts off as a 4/3, but yeah, you can get this up to a, 3-shot KO very quickly, a 2-shot KO in no time, and potentially even a 1-shot KO, maybe with some help. Regardless, the impulse draw on there also is fantastic, of course. That is incredible. That is crazy. That is just a great effect, essentially. And yeah, being able to just, store up cards until the end of your next end step. If you're able to, have your opponents lose life on their turns, yeah, you can store those up for basically your next turn. So it's a great way for, temporary card advantage. And of course, it doesn't, specify that it has to be like from a source you control or anything like that. It doesn't have to be one of your sources. So if an opponent is just actually making themselves lose life for a reason, or, if they have, other opponents are, damaging them or whatnot, yeah, you get those effects. So if someone's got like Necropotence, you are getting a benefit off of that as well, technically. So a lot of cool things can be done with this kind of a commander. And like I mentioned earlier, yeah, there's a pretty easy combo with this one that, it's now just added to the list of these pretty easy combos with this new card that, well, Wizards, I don't know why they printed it, because like it's a newish card. They're like, how to know that like all these other new cards just happen to combo with it, or they're just really not doing their job, making sure that that's not happening, or they just don't care. Don't know. Regardless, on this quick take, like my other quick takes, I'm going to take you through the budget buys. That's right, those cards that are less than $1 cards are within my budget to consider. If you're excited about this brand new commander, well, consider picking up some of those. And if it's in your budget, well, I'm talking about some pricier picks as well, cards that are outside of my budget, cards that are more than $1. So yeah, also consider those. Regardless, all these cards will be in a link in the description below. Now, with all that said, let's jump into it. So first up, when it comes to the budget buys, the first card that I want to bring up, and I would love rules lawyers out there to help me out with, we've got Rakdos Charm, an incredible card with this kind of a commander. Instant choose 1, exile card to target player's graveyard. That's nice. Draw an artifact. That's nice. Very flexible. Also, hey, each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. That's fantastic because, hey, Rakdos Charm isn't actually dealing the damage. It's actually the creatures themselves that are dealing the damage. Again, because Ob Nixilis doesn't care about the source of the damage. Rules lawyers out there, correct me in the comments below, but I believe basically, hey, for each creature your opponents control, that is going to be 1 point of damage separate from the other points of damage. So Ob Nixilis will see all those essentially, and that's going to be that many counters on Ob Nixilis and that much impulse draw for 2 mana. So yeah, let's say there's 10 creatures out there that your opponents control, which might even be a low number. Yeah, that's 10 counters on Ob, and that is, well, a lot of impulse draw. Just think about that kind of a play, like, if there's even more, if you're playing against a player that's got a bunch of, creature tokens, which there are plenty of those players out there. It's a very, 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 very popular archetype. Hey, you're like, yeah, you got, what, 20 creatures out there? Okay, Instant speed, 2 mana, deal 20 damage to your face. Oh, and also Ob got 20 counters and swung through, and yeah, I just took someone out. Cool. Anyways, let me know in the comments. Well, I believe that would work, right? Because all Ob cares about is, like, it does say 1 or more opponents. If you're dealing it to separate opponents at the same time, you know, with an effect that we'll talk about here in a bit, that won't give you extra value, but it takes extra instances into account. So I believe that will work. Regardless, next up, Zulport Cutthroat, kind of on the other end of that. Whenever it or other creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. It's a fantastic effect. It's a great effect. And again, it won't give you, 3 counters plus, 3 impulse draw off of 1 of your creatures dying because, yeah, you drain 3 opponents. Again, Ob says 1 or more. That being said, it's exactly 1 loss of life. So, hey, there you go. You are able to, well, activate Ob quite a bit with this. Moving on, Retreat to Hagra. Yeah, creatures dying can do it, but so can your lands. Well, not dying, but just lands coming into play. Landfall never landed is battle for control. Choose 1. You can give a creature Death Touch. That's nice. Actually, that's very nice, I should mention, with Ob, because, again, Ob has Trample, which means you can get all that juicy damage through, essentially. Or all but 1, basically. And each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life as your other option. That is the one that I'm going to be talking about, obviously, because, hey, play a land, drain an opponent, and then, yeah, impulse draw and get a counter on Ob. Moving on. Underworld Dreams. This might be one of the best ones out there because, well, players in Commander love to draw a lot of cards. Yeah, Guilty is charged over here as well. Underworld Dreams says whenever opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 1 damage to that player. Every single time they do that, you get a counter on Ob, and you also get to impulse draw 1, which is crazy. So again, yeah, you're going to be getting that trigger quite a lot throughout the game. Even just with 1 trip around the table with everyone's, draw, step, draw with your opponents. Hey, that's 3 counters and 3 impulse draw. Have fun with that. Next up, Cardur Doom Scourge. Love this card. 4/3 enters battlefield until your next turn. Creature opponents control attack each combat able, attack a player than you able. Basically, mass goad everything other than your creatures. Nice. Whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Nice. So yeah. Hey, you're going to be forcing creatures to attack. Other players are probably going to be blocking. Attacking creatures are going to get taken out. When they do, yeah, you get to impulse draw and pump your Ob Nixilis. Next up, Revenge Ravens. This is great attack deterrence, but also, well, if your opponents are going to attack you, you're going to get even more benefit out of this. Whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, that creature controller loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So they lose exactly 1 life for every single one of their creatures attacking you. You're going to get those different instances of triggers. So Ob just keeps growing and growing and growing, getting you more impulse draw. And you also gain life, and yeah, your opponents are like, okay, I can attack that player, but if I do, they get all these benefits, and I get drained. So yeah, they may not like that very much. Moving on, Wild Magic Sorcerer. The first spell you cast from exile each turn as Cascade. Again, you're going to be impulse drawing a ton with this kind of a commander. So take even more advantage of it, get even more value out of it. Hey, when you're casting those, spells from exile, it does say, each turn. So, hey, if you got an instant, great. On opponent's turns, it counts as well. But yeah, on your turn, you get at least 1 cascade trigger, essentially, with this, which is fantastic. Moving on, Psychosis Crawler. Hey, we talked about Underworld Dreams, right? Draining your opponents when they draw. How about draining your opponents when you draw? Hey, whenever you draw a card, you're going to lose 1 life. Nice. So again, yeah, just draw some cards. Even just your draw step trigger can be a great way to get initial, impulse draw and, get your commander larger as well. Next up, Sir Conrad the Grim. Sir Conrad cares about creatures going here, there, and everywhere when it comes to your graveyard. Basically, when a creature dies from a graveyard from anywhere on the battlefield, or a creature leaves your graveyard, Sir Conrad's going to say, ping you for 1. So yeah, this is going to say, happen a lot throughout the game, and you're going to get a lot of triggers off of Ob throughout the game with this too. Finally, Pontiff of Blight, and I do want to just do a quick little reminder. That is reminder text there with Extort, so that little white symbol in there for the Orzhov does not count. So therefore, you can use Extort cards in either mono white or mono black, or I guess I should say card decks that don't have one of those 2 colors. You know what I mean. Regardless, Pontiff of Blight has Extort. Other creatures you control have Extort. So hey, when you cast a spell, you can just keep paying a bunch of, instances of, extort. And by doing so, you're draining your opponents, which is just great. And then when you do that, you get to, impulse draw and make your Ob Nixilis bigger. So yeah, have fun with that. There are a lot of ways to take advantage of this. There are a ton of ways to damage your opponents. There are a ton of ways to drain your opponents. There are a ton of ways to, well, just benefit with a commander like this. Now that we've talked about all the budget buys, let's move on to the pricier picks. We're going to start things off with a fantastic card that was budget for a little bit. And now it's outside of budget, and it's just barely outside of budget, and please reprint it. Gobble Bombardment's a great card. Sacrifice a creature, it deals 1 damage to any target. This is fantastic because, yeah, there's a lot of those, Zulport, Cutthroat, Blood Artist type effects out there. They work very well with this commander, and being able to, just make that trigger happen whenever you want it to is going to be great. Sacrifice a creature deals 1 damage to any target. Yeah, you can also just get this little pings, right? 1 damage per each. So essentially kind of in combination with like Zulport, Cutthroat, yeah, you're going to be draining your opponents, pinging specific opponents or other targets or whatnot. But also, hey, doubling up your impulse draw basically by, getting advantage from the sacrifice outlet as well. So yeah, have fun with that. Next up, creatures leaving play, yeah, I can help you out, but also creatures coming into play. Impact Tremors, 1 damage each opponent whenever a creature comes into play under your control. That's going to happen quite a bit. So, yeah, do so. Punish your opponents and get even more card advantage, or should I say temporary card advantage. You know what I mean. The impulse draw is fantastic. Next up, Meat Hook Massacre. This is kind of like, well, a very expensive Zulport Cutthroat that is incredible. When it enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X on a turn. A board wipe on an enchantment. Nice. Also, whenever a creature control dies, you just drain 1. Nice. Which is just fantastic. And on top of that, whenever a creature opponent controls dies, you gain 1 life. So just incidental life gain. That's nice. But also, yeah, again, like that Zulport Cutthroat drain, which works well with your commander. And then, of course, yeah, just a board wipe on an enchantment. Yeah, that's pretty gross. Speaking of a gross enchantment, though, hey, OLB1. Rude. Oh, my goodness, Wizards. Okay. So you printed this card in Phyrexia LB1. This combos with like a lot of things, including something from like Warhammer, which was not that far behind this. And now you're like, and the set after that, we're going to print something else that combos with it. It's going to be a commander. It's going to be great. It's very strange. Anyways, LB1. Enchantment, whatever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent player, LB1 deals that much damage to target opponent. Creature and opponent controls or planeswalker opponent controls. Hey, yeah, again, this thing comes with a lot of things, including this brand new commander, because here's what happens. You just need 1 instance, 1 trigger from your commander to get this ball rolling, and then you win. So basically, again, Zulport Cutthroat or, a draining effect or whatnot, okay? Once that happens, Ob gets 1 counter on it, right? You impulse draw 1, 2. Great, cool. All-We-On sees that 1 counter is like, hey, you want to deal 1 damage? And you're like, yeah, to that opponent's face. Cool, do it. All right, so it happens. Ob does it again, he gets another counter, etc., etc., etc. You basically impulse draw probably your entire deck, which maybe a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I mean, it doesn't really matter probably. But yeah, you were going to be dishing out basically infinite damage to all your opponent's faces. So that's all that really matters there. So yeah, LB1, an already decently expensive card. Well, it's probably just going to keep getting more and more expensive because it keeps comboing more and more things. Wizards, what in the world? Okay, next up though. Please reprint Berserker's Onslaught. Well, I've got you here, Wizards. Please reprint this. I love this card. It used to be so budget friendly, and now it is not. Attacking creature control, double strike. Yep, very, very effective, very, very efficient. Again, we have a flampling demon commander that's like, hey, I want to smack your opponent's faces, and I can get quite large quite quick. And you're like, yeah, let's do that. And also, if I get you like, let's say 11 power, which is not really all that difficult to do, right? With those counters are going to be getting on it, that's 7 counters. That's just going to be a one-shot KO with double strike. So yeah, there you go. On top of double strike, of course, there's other ways in red to double up damage. Reduce violence. Creature control deal damage to a permanent player. Deals double that damage to a permanent player instead. Basically, yet another instance of that. This pairs really well double strike because it's like, hey, hit with a double strike. Oh, it doubles up. Hit with the other hit. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so basically, yeah, you just need to get Ob to what? Like, 6? There you go. That would do it. Anyways, next up, we've got Keeper of Secrets, a creature that can really help us out as well. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Keeper of Secrets deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. This works very well with commanders like, Prosper, ones that cast things from exile, and this is yet another commander like Prosper that likes to cast things from exile. You're going to be doing a lot throughout the game with all that impulse draw, so you can dish out even more damage. And yeah, when you cast a spell from exile that costs 1, maybe like a Faithless Looting or something like that, hey, ping, and then, yeah, impulse draw again. So have fun with that. Moving on, Nalfish Knee. I can never remember this card's name. It always takes me forever to look it up. But yeah, whenever you cast a spell from exile, copy it. 2 targets to the copy. It's a permanent spell. Copy gains haste. Beginning of the end step, sacrifice. Basically, hey, double up your spells that are cast from exile. So have fun with that. Yeah, you're going to be doing that a lot with your impulse draw. So have fun. And then finally, a card that, well, is probably just going to start, getting more and more expensive as things go on. Because it's basically another Fire Emancipation. Yeah, City on Fire. Yeah, you're going to set things on fire with this commander. Convoke. If a source you control deal damage to a permanent player, deals further damage instead. Now, you need to be careful with this kind of effect because, well, it does specify source. So all your sources that are dealing damage, let's say, again, you've got those Tim type effects in this kind of a deck, that would make it deal 3 damage instead, which would not trigger your commander. So be careful with that. That being said, obviously this does not, impact when it comes to your, like Zulport Cutthroats that are draining, for life. So if you got more draining effects, sure, consider this. And also, yeah, just consider it because, hey, you just need to get your commander to 7 power and your opponents are one-shot KO'd by it. I mean, or maybe a little bit more because of the trample if their opponents can block, but it's got flying. So yeah, be careful with these kind of doubling and tripling effects when it comes to, applying to all your sources, but still definitely consider them when it comes to, working in concert with your commander. So yeah, make sure you consider that. Regardless, overall, Ob Nixilis Captive Kingpin, a very interesting brand new card. Again, yet another card that somehow combos with all B1. You know what, Wizards, you're probably just, are you just trying to be like, okay, every set from now on needs a card that combos with this? Seems like it, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things go. Maybe in future sets, maybe the Eldraine that's gonna be coming out this year. Maybe with the new, I think Ikoria is gonna win as well. Yeah, we'll see if we get combos with that as well. But regardless, this one is not from those sets. This is from the upcoming Mom, the Aftermath, and yeah, Ob Nixilis. I think many players out there are gonna be very excited about it. It's a really cool commander. Again, players love casting things from exile. They love Impulse Draw. They love tiny little damage effects too, like little Tim effects. You can do a full Tim deck around this if you really want to. Yeah, it seems like a really cool card. Again, if you are interested in this commander, make sure you check out that card list link in the description below. Consider picking up some of those sooner rather than later, because when new exciting commanders like this one are spoiled, sometimes the cards that work well with it tend to go up in price. So yeah, make sure you consider picking some of those up. And of course, as always, stay tuned to this channel for even more exciting quick takes, spoilers, all other kinds of episodes. And as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.